Hey guys, this is Kira, your favorite neurodiversity advocate. I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat with me on Zoom and learn a little bit about what I do. And I loved hearing about your story as well. So, as a thank you, I wanted to make a little mini course on a really important topic that is related to neurodiversity and autism, which is called inflammation. And if you've never heard of this idea of inflammation, it's basically our body's overreaction to various stressors. Most people know inflammation when it becomes an autoimmune disorder, like you may have diabetes or PCOS, or you might have arthritis or psoriasis. Those are all autoimmune disorders that are rooted in inflammation. Something that a lot of people don't know is that inflammation and autism are kind of inextricably linked. I don't think I've ever met somebody who's autistic who didn't have inflammation, and I don't think I've met someone with severe inflammation who wasn't neurodivergent in some way. So I have ideas about why this is. I think because inflammation is about stressors, I think that it could be sort of generational, that the stressors add up over time. But I wanted to talk about a little bit about the science behind it, and also a few key things that you can do to help your kids and yourself to heal from inflammation in ways that you might not know. So, inflammation is caused by injury, infection, or tissue damage, but it is also caused by stress. And stress can be many different things. Stress can be an allergic reaction to a food. Stress can be social exclusion. So autistic people tend to have social issues because we're different and we don't have the same kind of social rewards in our brains. So we tend to just be socially stressed more. And social stress is processed in the brain as a physical pain. So when we are socially excluded, our brain goes, oh, that's physical pain. And it actually reverberates throughout our entire body and can cause heart disease and, like plaque buildup in your arteries and stuff. So given that, stress causes inflammation. Inflammation can be reduced by de-stressing. When you go to the doctor and you tell them that you may have an autoimmune disorder, the first thing they're probably going to do is give you some sort of an NSAID or they'll try to put you on some sort of medication, and some medications can help. But one thing you might not know is that depression and anxiety is actually the inflammation of the brain. It's a imbalance of neurochemicals that results in a swelling. It's an actual swelling that happens. And some antidepressants can help reduce that and allow your brain to knit and talk to itself again. So while SSRIs and SNRIs can help with that brain inflammation, there's actually a lot of other things that can help too. Now I'm going to switch over to this idea of the placebo effect. The placebo effect is when you believe that something is going to work, and so then it does. When they do studies for new medications, they will do a double-blind study where some people get the medication and some people get the placebo, and sometimes the placebo effect is equal to the effect of the drug. So what does that tell us? Why is this happening? They found that our minds create chemicals, our brains create chemicals when we expect them to. So for example, they at one point gave people a blood pressure medication, or maybe it was mice, I don't remember. It was people. They gave them a blood pressure medication. And then eventually that would lower their blood pressure, right? And then eventually they removed that medication from the saline solution, but still gave them saline without telling them that they removed the medication, and their blood pressure dropped anyway. And what's happening is that our brain actually releases cannabinoids, opioids, endorphins, and other neurotransmitters as well when we expect something. So with that idea, the placebo effect is a form of belief. So when we believe in something, our brains actually work with us to create whatever that reality is in our bodies. That's why we actually see that people who have a strong religious or spiritual practice, so long as it's not oppressive, that's a whole other side. But if it's working for them, religiosity is actually linked with lower blood pressure and lower inflammation in the body. So one thing that you can do for your kids and for yourself is to remember that your mindset affects your body, probably more than anything else. If stress is the number one killer, wouldn't de-stressing be the number one healer of your body? So when it comes to your kids who are stressed just because they're born that way, an autistic person is born with an enlarged amygdala, which means that we are experiencing fight or flight from the moment we come out of the womb and before that. And so you have things like colicky babies because we're just like stressed just right out of the womb. Yes, medications can help, but also one of the things that is sort of looked down on is when autistic people stim, which is, doing something repetitive, rocking or tapping or spinning. And what's happening when an autistic person is doing that is that they're actually refilling those missing chemicals in their brain. And just let your kids do it, whatever it is. Let them do that thing. But for me, for example, my biggest stim is watching plants move in the wind. So when I'm in nature, if I'm there long enough, that effect can last for days and weeks sometimes. So the other thing is to remember that not to attack yourself and not to attack your children. Not that you attack your children, but I think that all parents want more for their kids and, might sometimes put really high expectations on them and make them feel like they're not good enough in some way. Like, why aren't you faster? Or why aren't you cleaner? I'm guilty. I'm absolutely guilty as a parent and for myself, but it's something to work on all the time in therapy and on your own. Just like remember that everything that they think of themselves and what you think of them and what you think of yourself, that translates into real body chemicals. So some things that I would love for you to try with yourself and with your kids is to do what brings you joy, like real joy, and not the kind of joy that's like, you expect it to be something that you like, but you don't actually. It's the stuff that like really soothes your soul. That's when you know that you're actually healing. That's your body telling you that you're truly physically healing. Say no to things that give you chronic stress. I know that you can't sometimes, especially as a parent, but if you can, say no. Have a spiritual practice. This is really important because whatever it is that takes you out of yourself, out of the everyday, like, I'm not good enough, and open it up and remember that in some ways, in however way that you think of life and the universe, like the universe is going to catch you in some way and everything is actually okay in the long run. Work with healers that you believe in, whether that's a religious healer or a body healer or yoga. It can even be a gym instructor that's like really hard on you, but it works for you because you believe in them. And so long as you believe in them, your body's going to enjoy that experience. Have a gratitude practice and a positive affirmation practice. The more good things you say to yourself, the more you teach your kids to say good things to themselves, the more healing they're going to go through, and you are too. Connect with others who bring you joy, cultivate positive self-talk, and set meaningful goals that you can actually achieve, and then take that time to acknowledge them and reflect back on the amazing work that you did for yourself. All right, that's it for this mini training. I'll see you guys in the next one.